Hey, what's going on, y'all? I hope life is good. And if it ain't, I hope it gets better. And hey, maybe this podcast will play a part in making that happen. So sit back, listen, hang a bit, laugh with me, laugh at me. All that matters is you're here. This podcast starts right now. Enjoy. Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Blaze. I'm somebody's dad just figuring it out. That's the name of this podcast. And listen, I appreciate you coming through to listen to me talk about whatever it is I'm about to talk about because you are giving me time and we can't get time back, which means you are giving me your life, which is giving me life. And what I want to do is return the favor by giving you a little something. Now, I might give you something to think about, something to ponder on, might give you something to laugh about, something to smile about, something to take through your day and make it a little bit better or at least a little bit more interesting. Having said that, we're going to get something straight right out the gate. I'm going to be general on most things. I'm going to be specific on a few. But regardless of what I say, I ain't no guru, boo-boo. Listen, you help me and I help you. And if at the end of it all, we're a little bit better versions of ourselves, which I believe we can be, we're going to call that a W. Now, guys, I'm recording this in the morning. So the energy you hear is absolutely 100% an example of act your way into feelings, not feel your way into actions. Oh my goodness. I'm probably not going to do these morning recordings again, but listen, things must be done. Actions must be taken. Results must be garnered. And I was listening to this song, and it was on one of those like Instagram clips, or maybe it was on TikTok, or maybe it was on Facebook, wherever it came from. But it was this rapper. I do not even remember this dude's name. All I know is he was rapping like he was out of 1990 something. Like it was giving late 80s, early 90s, like almost like Far Side, or like, how they used to rap like, and then I wonder da 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 da, and I like something about the way he was rapping just took me back to when I was a kid. And the big subject, like the hook, the whole crux of the message was, I'm built different. And the way he said it was like, because I'm built different. Because I'm built different. Something like that. And I couldn't get away from it. Like it stuck in my head. And I said, all right, so why is this rattling around my brain? Let me see what I can get from it. Let me see what I can take from it. And so the title of this episode is Built Different. That is my attempt at a scratching sound. Listen, I could do a better one, but it is morning. And we're not going to do this morning recording again, but you get what you get, all right? I'm going to use my trusty, handy dandy laptop. For y'all who are listening, you can't see this. You can't see this, but understand that there is a laptop right here. Now, first off, when it comes to built different, I know that a lot of folks will say that. And what I mean by that is you typically see athletes or rappers or, I don't know, just random cats. Like, I ain't gonna lie, a lot of these teenagers be saying it. And it's like, I'm built different. I ain't like them. I'm built different. You probably not. Because most people who say they're built different are talking about how tough they are and how much better they are in a particular area relative to someone else. So it's comparison. So I guess it might not be so much that you're built different, but more so that you're comparing down instead of up. What do I mean? Well, listen, if I'm playing, let's say I'm playing soccer with a bunch of cats. I'm the best one on the field, and it's not on some like, well, you seem to be having a good day. No, by far, I am better than everybody. And I score. We're talking top bins from the 18. Well, yeah, I'm excited about making the goal because listen, to put it in that particular part of the goal isn't the easiest thing in the world. But if I know for a fact, and it is like there is evidence to suggest and prove that I am better, like miles beyond everybody on this field right now, I ain't built different. I just had a little bit more time on the pitch to get better at certain skills. But see, cats will be like, yo, I'm built different, son. They ain't even got, they can't hold me. No, they can't because they're not as good as you, and we all know that. It's kind of like the dude that brags about getting an A on the math test, but you literally are a math genius. And everybody else in your class got a C because the test was hard for everybody except you. But see, we all knew that. So why in the world are you flashing your A plus around like that's somehow abnormal or something to be celebrated? Again, the fact that you're good at math, that's awesome. But why don't you keep that same energy when you get in front of and in a group of mathematical geniuses, just like yourself? Now let's see how you measure up. Because again, I think a lot of the time folk will talk about I'm built different when in essence it's just I am a little bit better than these folks. I already knew it. And now that I've accomplished something, I'm just going to make sure that I'm still just a little bit better than them. So I'm built different. And listen, being great and being a hard worker, being excellent, all of that is awesome, right? Because again, those are the things you need to succeed. But again, it's you are awesome, you are great, you are a hard worker compared to what? Like the guy who doesn't put in the same amount of work as you is not the person you need to compare your work ethic to. Like that's not the bar. The person who, never comes early, never stays late, but you're always coming early and always staying late. Yes, you are a step above that person. Yes, you are. You are. It's kind of like you almost want to ask yourself the question, generally speaking, to what metric am I holding myself to? To what metric am I basing my level of perceived success on? Because dang it, I could be built different and still suck, but that's because I'm in a room full of people who ain't built like nothing. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just putting that out there because, again, first off, you might not necessarily be different. Secondly, for those of you who are built different, because some of y'all are, some of y'all are just, y'all on another level. I don't know how you got there, what is going on, and yet, built different is what I believe you are. You are built, not born. Because some cats out here are thinking, listen, I was just gifted, possibly. Well, I just got a bunch of talent, possibly. But there's also value in understanding that no one is born in their final form. You, ma'am or sir, started out as Pikachu. So don't act as though you just came out the womb and won. Like that ain't how the game go. Because if you're built different, then there was effort, there was time, there were probably a bunch of different hands that went into cultivating, sculpting, and creating the you see in front of the mirror right now. And to diss that, to put that aside and act as though, nah, son, I've always been this way because I'm built different. Nah, son, I disagree. You may be built different, but somebody had to build you. Also, let's make sure we give credit to those who helped us. Like, when we talk about being built different, we have to understand that not a single house that you see in any neighborhood was built by one person. You don't see the general contractor talking about, yeah, I did this. No, it's a we thing. It's a team thing because typically the GC might know a little bit about a lot of things, but the GC ain't putting in all that electric. The GC ain't putting in all that plumbing. The GC didn't do all the framework, right? The general contractor cannot step back and say, you know, that foundation, laid all the concrete. That's me. What the general contractor can say is that I had help creating this thing that is going to be a huge blessing for someone for the next decade and a half. It's a team thing. That house might be built different, but it was built by a number of individuals. So again, to side eye the fact that many hands make for light work, and you, sir, you, ma'am, were the light work, is disrespectful at best, egregious at worst. Listen to me use SAT words this early in the morning. I'm just saying, built different doesn't mean a win from the moment you took your first breath. Built different means built over time, not by yourself, by people who some you may not even know, some whose contribution to you may not fully understand until the next 20 years pass. And now you come to a place of revelation or epiphany, and it's like, oh my God, they did that for me. Yeah, they did. And then some are still building you. So just saying, keep that in mind, ye who is built different. Lastly, there is a responsibility as someone who is built different, because we're going to assume that you're not comparing yourself down. We're going to assume that you're acknowledging the fact that you didn't get this far on your own, that the plaudits and accolades that you have, the different trophies and plaques that might be on your wall, the ribbons came from your hard work, yes, your diligence, yes, the time and effort you put in, yes, but also the many other individuals that helped you to get there. You now have a responsibility as someone who's built different to help build someone else. Like, I mean, think about this. Like, if I got, here's a really good example. If I got a whole piece of cake, like bump a piece, I got a whole sheet cake. There was a baker that went into creating that, someone who might have been very skilled at fondant or skilled at putting icing on the cake. And so individuals came through and gave me that, right? I could eat it all myself and just hoard all this awesomeness. Or maybe I could share that with someone else. Let's take it even further. Maybe I'm the person who's a part of the team that made this incredible cake. And I see someone else who is over there, and they're not necessarily struggling to make a cake, but clearly you can tell that they've got a little bit of a ways to go before their cake is on the level that I'm looking at of mine. I could say, I made better cakes than you. Or I could say, yo, what you might want to do is, or I can actually go over there and be like, hey, I've been here. And dude, here's how I went from this to like this next level. All it was instead of doing this to the cake, I actually added this, and I used this machine to be able to turn the cake in a way that helped me to not make as much of a mess, not waste as much material, but still be effective and productive with a short amount of time of creating a cake. Like, dude, if you do this, I think it's going to take you a lot further. That is building someone. Those of you who are built different have a responsibility to build different. Because also, sometimes people will do this. And I think I heard a story where T.I. was riding around with Dave Chappelle. Because Dave Chappelle went down to Atlanta. I think maybe he was doing some shows down there, just hanging out. And so, T.I.'s like, let me show you the city. And they're driving around. They go up to this light. They got to stop. And then a group called the Water Boys, who just sell water. They run up to the car and they see, oh snap, this is T.I. Because again, it's Atlanta, so everybody know T.I. in Atlanta. And they start talking to him, and then T.I. starts telling them, hey man, make sure you keep that water cool. And so when you're handing it to them, there's still condensation on it and it looks refreshing. Make sure that you're dressed in a manner that says, I want to be taken seriously. Make sure this and this is probably what you can do. And hey, don't run up on a car. Make sure that you approach in a way that allows you to be well received. So he's giving them all this information, right? And then they say, oh, awesome. Hey, so T.I., would you like to buy some water? And T.I. says, what? I didn't gave you the game. Though T.I. did help by giving them knowledge. Could he have been a blessing? Maybe, by getting some water from them. I'd like to believe that maybe doing a little bit more in terms of being hands-on, if at all possible, and direct in terms of interaction is a way to build somebody different than somebody who's simply saying, hey, let me give you some advice. Cool, appreciate the advice, especially if it's coming from somebody who you see has had some success. Sometimes you need people's presence. Sometimes you just need their mind. But I believe that for someone who's built different, you need to build different. And a lot of the time, people tend to build without getting their hands dirty, without getting their hands wet, without breaking a sweat. Do it different from what most people do. because again, that's your responsibility. Now, when you're built different, you have an idea about how you were built. So just like that cake example, hey, this is what helped me and this is how I did this. Well, what was poured into you and the tools you were given may not have been provided to others. So you might be in a situation where, remember those many hands that made for light work, you being the light work? Well, those many hands might have had hammers in them, nails in them, tape, might have had nutritious foods, might have had opportunities to get better teaching, coaching, and experiences. Maybe, this is a good one, maybe those many hands simply insulated you while you made all those mistakes, because you made a ton of them. You had to try, fail, and adjust. But maybe those many hands allowed you to make those mistakes in the dark. So when you came to the light, you looked even brighter, having already fumbled, stumbled, and bumbled your way through that learning process. Maybe other folks didn't have that. So maybe, since you've got tools in your toolbox and your cup runneth over and overflows, maybe you can let somebody drink from that and, I don't know, hand them a hammer every now and then. Because I think if we are built different and we understand that we're built and we understand what went into building us, because again, after time, maybe we gain a bit more perspective. Why in the world can't we run up on somebody who we know might need help, or better said, might be doing great, and we can accelerate that by taking the time to say, yo, here are the tools that were given to me. You need something? Or, hey, I see exactly what you're doing. I was exactly right there, like verbatim. The thing you're in right now, my footprints are there. You could probably see them because we went on the same road. Those are my footprints right there. Right there. Those are mine in the mud. Yeah. You see them handprints? Yeah, because I got knocked down. Let me see if I can make it so that you don't get knocked down on your knees, hands in the dirt. Maybe I can help you just get your shoes muddy. Oh, by the way, I feel like you've been running hard. You're thirsty. Let me give you something to drink. Guys, if we're going to claim to be built different, if we believe we're built different, because we know we're not comparing down, and we've seen the results of all of our hard work and the work of others to put this whole thing that we call ourselves as we look in the mirror together, then I think it's our absolute responsibility to not only pay it forward in terms of how we hold ourselves as an example, but how we get our hands dirty, get down in the mud with folks to help build them. Because, hey, last I checked, a city full of skyscrapers didn't happen because someone built one tower and decided, I'm out. Hey, everybody, that's our show. Thank you so much for taking the time to tune in. I'm somebody's dad, just figuring it out. Hopefully you got something from today's episode. Like it, share, subscribe, get involved in the comments, tell a friend and tell a friend. And until next time, smile a little bit more. Take care of yourself, stay safe, and I will see you on the next episode.